Chapter 8. What happened after dinner? And now, said Lucy, do please tell us what happened to Mr. Terminus? Oh, that's bad, said Mr. Beaver, shaking his head. That's a very, very bad business. There's no doubt he was taken off the police. I got that from Bert who saw it done. But where's he been taken to? Asked Lucy. Well, they were hitting the words when they were last seen, and we all know what that means. No, we don't, said Susan. Mr. Beaver shook his head in a very gloomy fashion. I'm afraid it means they were taking him to her house, he said. But what did they do to him, Mr. Beaver? Gasped Lucy. Well, said Mr. Beaver, you can't exactly say for sure, but there's no many taking it. There are overcomes out again. Statues. All full of statues, they said it. In the courtyard, and up the stair, and in the hall. People just turned. He paused and shuddered. Turned into stone. But, Mr. Beaver, said Lucy, we must do something to save him. It's too dreadful, and it's all on my account. I don't doubt you. Save him. If I could, dearie, said Mr. Beaver. But if no chance of getting into the house again her will and ever coming out alive. Couldn't we have some stratagem? Said Peter. Couldn't we trace up something or pretend to be peddlers or anything? Or watch till she was gone out? Or hang it all. There must be some way. This phone saved my sister at his own risk, Mr. Beaver. We can't just leave him to have that done to him. That's not good, son of Adam, said Mr. Beaver. Not good you trying of all people. But now that Aslan is on the move. Oh yes, tell us about Aslan, said several voices at once. For once again, the strange feeling, like the first sign of spring, like good news had come over them. Who is Aslan? Asked Susan. Aslan, said Mr. Beaver. Why don't you know? He's the king. He's the lord of the whole wood. But not even here. You understand? Never in my time or my father's time. But the word has reached us that he has come back. He is in Narnia at this moment. He'll settle the White Queen all right. It is he, not you, that will save Mr. Terminus. She won't throw him into the stone too, said Edmund. Lord love you, son of Adam. What a simple things to say, answered Mr. Beaver with a great laugh. Throw him into stone? If she can't stand off her 2 feet and look him in the face, it'd be the most she can do and more than I expect of her. No, he'll put all the right is said no and all the rim in this part. Wrong will be right when Aslan come inside. At the sound of his roar, sorrow will be no more. When he bears his teeth, winter meet its step, and when he shakes his mane, we shall have spring again. You'll understand when you see him. But shall we see him? Asked Susan. Why, daughter of Eve, though I broke you here, where I'm to lead you where you shall meet him, said Mr. Beaver. Is he a man? Said Lucy. Aslan, a man, said Mr. Beaver sternly. Certainly not. I tell you he is the king of the world and the son of the great empire beyond the sea. Don't you know he's the king of beasts? Aslan is the lion. The great lion. Oh, said Susan. I thought he was a man. Is it quite safe? I shall feel very nervous about meeting a lion. They will theory and no mistake, said Mrs. Beaver. If there's anyone who can appear before Aslan without their knees knocking, they're either brave than most or else just lazy. Then he isn't safe, said Lucy. Safe? Said Mr. Beaver. Don't you hear what Mrs. Beaver tells you? Who said anything about safe? Of course he isn't safe, but he's good. He's the king, I tell you. I'm longing to see him, said Peter, even if I do feel frightened when it comes to the point. That's right, son of Adam, said Mr. Beaver, bringing his paw down on the table with a crushed metal cup and soda rattle. And so you shall. Word has been sent that you are to meet him tomorrow if you can at the stone table. Where's that? Said Lucy. I'll show you, said Mr. Beaver. It's down the river. A good step from here. I'll take you to it. But meanwhile, what about poor Mr. Tumnus? Said Lucy. The quickest way you can help him is by going to meet Aslan, said Mr. Beaver. Once he is with us, then we can begin doing things now that we don't need you to. For the another of the old dreams, when Adam flesh and Adam's bone sit at Cair Paravel enthroned, the evil time will be over and done. So things must be drawing near there, and now he's come and you've come. We've heard of Aslan coming into this part river long ago, nobody can say when. But there's never been any of your race here before. That's what I don't understand, Mr. Beaver, said Peter. I mean, isn't the witch herself human? She like us to believe it, said Mr. Beaver. And it's on that she bases her claim to be queen, but she's no daughter of Eve. She comes of your father Adam's. Your father Adam's first wife, her day called Lilith, and she was on one of the jinn. That what she comes from one of sight, and one the other she comes of the giants. No, there isn't a drop of real human blood in the witch. That's why she's bad at truth, Mr. Beaver, said Mr. Beaver. True enough, Mrs. Beaver, replied he. There may be two views about humans, but there's no two views about things that look like humans and aren't. I've no good dwarfs, said Mrs. Beaver. So I know you come to speak of it, said her husband, but precious few, and they were the one less like men. But in general, take my advice when you meet anything that's going to be human and isn't yet, or used to be human once and isn't now, or ought to be human and isn't it. You keep your eyes on it and feel for your heritage. And that's why the witch is always on the lookout for any humans in Narnia. She's been watching for you this many a year, and if she knew there were four of you, she'd build more dangerous still. What's that to do with it? asked Peter. Because of another prophecy, said Mr. Beaver. Don't at Cair Paravel, there's a castle on the sea, coast down at the mouth of the river which ought to the capital of the whole country if all was in as it should be. Though at Cair Paravel there are four turned and sang in Narnia, time out of mind, that went to son of Adam and to daughter of Eve, seeing those four thrones. There will be the end not only of the White Witch reigns but of her life, and that is why we had to be cautioned as we come along. For if she knew about you four, your life wouldn't be worth a shaking of my whisker. All the children had been attending so hard to what Mr. Beaver was telling them that they had noticed nothing else for a long time. Then, during the moment of silence that followed his last remark, Lucy suddenly said, I saw. Where's Edmund? I say, where's Edmund? There was a dreadful pause, and then everyone began asking, we saw him last. How long has been missing? Is he outside? and they all rushed to the door and looked out. The snow was falling thickly and steadily. The green eyes of the pole had vanished under a thick white blanket. And from where the little house stood in the center at the dam, you could hardly see either bank. Out they went, flying well over the ankles into the soft new snow, and went around the house in every direction. Out moon! They called till they were hoarse. But the suddenly falling snow made them muffle their face, and there was not even an echo in answer. "How perfectly dreadful," said Susan, as they at least came back in despair. "Oh, how I wish we'd never come." "What on earth are we to do, Mr. Beaver?" said Peter. "Do?" said Mr. Beaver, who was already putting on his snow boots. "Do? We must be off at once. We haven't a moment to spare." "We'd better divide into four search parties," said Peter, "and all go in different directions. Whoever finds him must come back here at once." "And search party, son of Adam?" said Mr. Beaver. "What for?" "Why, to look for Edmund, of course." "There's no point in looking for him," said Mr. Beaver. "What do you mean?" said Susan. "He can't be far away yet, and we've got to find him." "What do you mean when you say there's no looking for him?" "The reason there's no use looking," said Mr. Beaver, "is that we know already where he's gone." Everyone stared in amazement. "Don't you understand?" said Mr. Beaver. "He's gone to her, to the White Witch. He has betrayed us all." "Oh, surely, really," said Susan. "He can't have done that, can he?" said Mr. Beaver, looking very hard at the three children, and everything they wanted to say that on their lips, for each felt suddenly quite certain inside that this was exactly what anyone had done. "But will he know the way?" said Beaver. "Has he been in this country before?" asked Mr. Beaver. "Has he ever been here alone?" "Yes," said Lucy, almost in a whisper. "I'm afraid he has." "And did he tell you what he'd done or what he'd meant?" "Well, no, he didn't," said Lucy. "Then mark my words," said Mr. Beaver. He has already met the White Witch and joined her side, and been told where she lived. I didn't like to mention it before, but the moment I set eyes on that brother of yours, I said to myself, 'Trickers, he had the look of one who has been with the witch and eaten her food.' You can always tell them, if you live alone in Narnia, something about their eyes. All the same," said Peter in a rather cooking sort of voice, "we'll still have to go and look for him. He is our brother after all, even if he is rather a little beast. And he's only a kid." "Go to which house?" said Mrs. Beaver. "Don't you see that the only chance of saving either him or yourselves is to keep away from her?" "How do you mean?" said Lucy. "Why, all she wants is go to all four of you. Once you were all far inside her house, her job would be done. And there before new seduced in her collection, before you had time to speak. But she'll keep him alive as long as he's the only one she got, because she wants to use him as a decoy, as a bait to catch the rest of you with. Oh, can no one help us?" "Well, Lucy, only us, Aslan," said Mr. Beaver. "We must go on and meet him. That's our only chance now." "It seems to me, my dears," said Mrs. Beaver, "that it's very important to know just when he slips away. How much he can tell her depends on how much he hears. For instance, have we started talking of Aslan before he left? If not, then we might do very well, for she won't know that Aslan has come to Narnia, and that we are meeting him, and will be quiet of Hogwarts as far as that is concerned. I don't remember his being here when we were talking about Aslan," began Peter, but Lucy interrupted him. "Oh, yes, he was," she said miserably. "Don't you remember it was he who asked whether the witch couldn't turn Aslan into stone too?" "So he did, by Jove," said Peter. "Just the sort of things he will say too." "Worse and worse," said Mr. Beaver. "And the next thing is it, was he still here when I told you that the place for meeting Aslan was the stone table?" And of course no one knew the answer to this question. "Because if he was," continued Mr. Beaver, "then she'll simply slide Judge down in the direction and get between us and the stone table and catch us on our way down. In fact, we shall be cut off from Aslan. But that isn't what she'll do first," said Mrs. Beaver. "And no, if I know her, the moment that Emma tells her that we are here, she set out to catch out this very night. And if she's been gone about half an hour, she'll be here in about another 20 minutes. "You're right, Mrs. Beaver," said her husband. "We must all get away from here. There's not a moment to lose."